Oh, it's Rob, bringing you yet another video review of a fountain pen. Cheap Chinese fountain pens. You know, this is what I like, this is how my journey started, and it's how it's continuing for the time being. I'm going to talk about the Delike Classic Alpha. Now, what you'll find is that this pen is often referred to as the Delike Brass Pocket Pen, or Brass Pen. But I think the original name, which I don't know whether it's just been translated from the Chinese, but it's Delike Classic Alpha Brass Pen, Brass Pocket Pen. And it is. It is. This thing is, no doubt about it, brass. It's a heavy, heavy little pen. It's a pocket pen, so, you know, it's a great little knockabout pen. Most interestingly, this pen, I mean, to me it looks very nautical. It kind of looks like some munitions, a bit shell, bullet shaped, or something nautical. It is quite a nice pen, but there is one caveat with this pen, and it is, to me, and I don't normally do this, but I would say it's a rip-off of the Kaweco AL-Sport. I believe it's the AL-Sport. Yeah, all metal pen, same design, even the same clip, even the fact that the clip comes off. And if you get one of the Kaweco pens, it looks pretty much identical to that. Maybe not in the brass colour, maybe not the finish, but the clip, the fact that the clip's a separate thing, which you do get with this pen and not necessarily with the Kaweco pen. And it just slides on there as an optional extra. It's too similar, but this thing costs a fraction of the price. I mean, this costs, I don't know, £10 plus, including postage from packing from China. Very, very cheap version. Is it as good? No, it's not. We'll get that one out of the way first off. This is quite a good pen, but the Kaweco pens are much, much, much better. I'm going to talk about, we'll start off with the length. I mean, it's a pocket pen. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little pen, but it's quite a good looking pen. It's in this, I'd say it was like a, it's not just machined, it is quite a smooth brass finish, turned finish. And it's got some sort of lacquer on here as well, so I mean it isn't going to oxidise, it's going to look like this for many, many years. The length overall, when it's capped, is 11.3 centimetres, so dinky little pen. Uncapped, which is a screw cap, this takes over one turn to unscrew, uncap. So the overall length uncapped is only 10.2 centimetres. This is a small pen, but, and this might not go for everybody, I've got size 8.5 hands. This little pen, you can actually write with it unposted. It is possible. If you post it, and it posts very, very deeply. That really does go on quite a distance. It becomes much, much more, I suppose, standard. It's much better length, but the weight, God, this pen is heavy. Overall, total weight capped is 50.5 grams. There's not many pens which weigh 50.5 grams. I mean, we're talking solid metal here. There's no bits of plastic sort of holding this thing together. It is metal. If you want to write with it unposted, the weight is 31.7 grams, so even then it's quite a heavy pen, especially for the size. The cap itself weighs 18.8 grams. We're looking at quite a chunk of metal there. It's not particularly thick, but you know, when you post this pen, writing with it, yeah, becomes more of a, I suppose, average length. But I find when I'm holding it down here, the weight up here, and it's not back heavy, it's just the extra weight of that cap just makes this really uncomfortable to write with. So I'm going to go through the parts of this pen because there's one or two key elements. The first one, as we've seen already, is the clip. Now, slides on and off. In my view, way too easily. It's not tight enough. Also, on the clip, you'll notice a folded piece of metal, and they haven't managed to line it up correctly. So, bit of a cheap design flaw there. There is a bit of play in those threads, unless it's really cranked up. Even then, you know, it's going to loosen. So there is also, rather strangely, War and Peace etched. I'm guessing this is laser etching or something. War and Peace etched on all of these pens, and it is available in different colours, different finishes as well. So this is the brass version. I'm going to go through this just now, just to give you an overview of the pen. So you unscrew it. Thin, well not thin, but quite a small metal section there, which is quite nicely polished. It's not a mirror finish. It's a nice turned finish, very attractive. Fine nib, no, extra fine nib in fact, quite a small nib. So you've got a bit of a band there. I assume this is two separate bits of metal joined together. Unscrew, oh blimey, unscrew the section, which could, to be honest, metal on metal, do with a little bit of silicone grease to keep that lubricated, and it comes, thankfully, unlike some of these other, unlike the Kaweco pen in fact, with a converter. It's a proprietary converter, only fits this pen I believe, and thank God it does. It doesn't hold a lot of ink. This is not going to be one of those pens you're going to be writing, well, War and Peace with. It's a very small ink reservoir, but it's a pocket pen. This is great for taking notes. Just keep it in your pocket. I mean, this thing is metal. It's not. You're not going to use this pen as a daily writer, but you can carry it around in a coat pocket, and it is not going to get damaged. This is not going to bend. This is not going to. It's not going to break if you drop it. It will break other things if you drop it on them. I mean, if you put this in your pocket with your mobile phone, it's going to crack the screen at some point. It's going to leave scratches. It's going to do some damage. This is heavy duty stuff. So quite a nice little pen from that point of view. Just going to say one thing about this. The nib, when this came, extra fine nib, but it was scratchy. It was really unpleasant to use. So I've already, prior to this review, gone through some nib smoothing using wet and dry carborundum paper, 12,000 grit, don't use anything less, and I've also used a brass shim to go between the tines just to make this pen a little bit wetter, so it's a much nicer pen to use. Now, I'm just going to go on to the design of this pen, still on this. This is the packaging. Now, sometimes this pen comes from China in a bit of bubble wrap like that. It depends on what you pay for it, I suppose, but some sellers just wrap it in bubble wrap, stick it in a padded envelope, that's it. Other sellers send you the full packaging. So we've got a cardboard sleeve, not very interesting. And this, as it turns out, rather nice dark navy blue metal tin. And if you think that looks very much like the Kaweco packaging, you're right, it really does. They are completely ripping this pen off, that pen off. I mean, down to the packaging, it's too similar for my liking, but it costs, well, it's about a tenth of the price. So in there we've got a foam insert. Now, this is a different version of this pen. This is the silver version, which still says War and Peace. Absolutely identical. The clip on this one is a lot firmer. You can slide it on off, but it's there. So if you wanted a mirror silver finish which shows up fingerprints, then yeah, it is available in this alternative version. Identical in every aspect to the brass pen, just a different finish. Interestingly, it weighs a little bit less. This one, the silver version, cap's weight is 49.6, so it weighs basically 1 gram less, and that is switched between the the loss in weight there is between the unposted weight of 31.4 grams as opposed to 31.7 on the brass version, and the cap weighs 18.2 grams on the silver version as opposed to 18.8 on the brass version. So I mean, we're talking 1 gram, so it's still a heavy pen. Very nice looking pen, very utilitarian, and once you've done some work on the nib, it actually writes quite well. Now, the ink I am using in this pen, struggling to find something that was brassy without being too coppery, but it is Diamine Macassar. So it's a brown ink. Let's just bring the paper down. So the pen is, there we go, hard start, great. It's probably because I've had it out of the cap for a while. Delike Classic Alpha, alternatively known as the brass pocket pen. And if my writing is going at a slant, it's because I'm writing to one side of the camera tripod, which is never easy. So it's an extra fine nib, and the ink is Diamine. I've got to spell this correctly. Macassar. Notice that's Macassar, not massacre. It's a brown ink. It's quite a nice saturated, dark, coffee-coloured ink. Bordering on black. It is that actually that dark. It's not one of these sepia things where it could be brownish orange. It's not a bad looking ink. And now I've fiddled around with the nib, doing a bit of smoothing. This is actually a really smooth writer. So I'll do the writing sample now. Yep, no issues at all with that. I'm happy with this nib now. I've done some work on it. This is really nice little pocket pen. Writes with very little pressure, as it should. Any fountain pen should. I mean, yeah, it's, you know, no skips, no hard starts. Scratchy if you're going to try and force anything out of it, and I wouldn't recommend it. It is not that sort of pen. Very stiff nib, but highly recommended. I like this little pen a lot. Whatever you want to call it, Delike brass pen, Delike brass pocket pen, or Delike Classic Alpha, whatever you want to call it, it's a good little pen. A little bit disappointing that they haven't even attempted to get away from Kaweco's design. You would have thought if they're going to emulate something, you improve on it. They haven't, but what they have done is basically rip off the thing and sell it at a lot lower price. So, you know, that's going to be quite dependent on whether it floats your boat or rings alarm bells and makes you go, no, I should be buying the original version. I would also like to point out that This pen was available in this brass finish, the silver finish that we've already looked at. I believe there's also a silver matte finish. Now, in early 2018, I noticed on eBay what they're calling the Delike Classic Alpha 2, or new version. As far as I'm able to tell, I haven't bought one, I'm not about to buy one either, is that what they've done, they haven't actually upgraded this pen. What they've done is created the exact same pen, metal pen, in 3 different finishes, and I think it's available in metallic red, metallic dark blue, and also a plain black. Don't know how durable those finishes are. I know some people have actually gone and taken the lacquered coating off this pen so that they can age the brass and anodise it, things like that. It's not something I'm about to do because I quite like the brass pen itself. So if you do want a different colour, it's now available in even more colours. So whether that's your thing or not, then it's certainly worth looking into. But once again, ethically, it's a rip-off of the Kaweco AL-Sport. So, you know, would you pay $100 and get one of those, £100 and get one of those, or 10 and get one of these and work on the nib maybe? Either way, the choice is yours. I'm not judging. Don't judge me. This is a fountain pen journey. I wasn't about to spend £100 on a Kaweco pen that I may or may not like, when I thought, well, let's get one of these just for, well, fun, see how it is. And yeah, it's a nice pen, so I'm quite happy with this. Thanks for watching.